MI's schedule is insane, and it's a miracle that he's here today. I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I want us to start off with this. Why did you say yes to coming here today? Why did you decide to? Of all things, what was it that made you come to the roundtable?
Yeah, so last year you sent me an email, and you asked me to be on the project.
Yes.
And I think I subscribed to the mail trail, and then I followed the page on Instagram.
Yes.
And I just started paying attention. And I think what you're doing is very important. I think that this is so beautiful to see so many young people here, like, especially on a Saturday, like, you could be doing so many other things
They
with your
probably
time.
don't have social lives.
But I think what you're doing is amazing, and as well as it was very difficult for me to come here. I know your team had to go through some hoops.
We did, but
to
it
get
was
us here.
completely worth it.
Yeah,
completely worth it.
I just think this is important. I'm glad to be here. I'm very humbled that you asked me. Why did you ask me to be here?
So, as everyone in my family knows, and my family is here, by the way. My dad is here.
Oh, really?
And all my siblings are here. My 2 brothers and my 2 sisters are here. Thank you for coming.
Wow.
I've listened to MI for probably 10, 12 years now. And I think the analogy I'm about to use is going to be funny and weird, but calling MI just a rapper is like calling the mafia bosses pizza shop owners. He's way more than that. He's way more than just a rapper. I've been very inspired by how you think, and you're a poet in many ways, honestly. And I think that the words that you put into your music will resonate for a very long time to come. And I think that people who would come in the future would use the words in your music to learn about what these current times are like. So they're immortal, and that's how I think about it. And I don't think that that's something that everyone necessarily immediately has because sometimes it can be an acquired taste to appreciate, but as we're here, everyone knows, understands, and respects that, and you're just timeless, and I'm sure everyone here would love to listen to you.
I need that video clip. Please. Cut and edit it for me. Yeah, man.
How do you describe yourself?
How do I describe myself?
What are all the things that go into making you? Of course, the public defines you as, an artist, a rapper, hip-hop general. But how do you think of yourself when you're up at 3 a.m.? I'm sure you don't think, oh, I'm hip-hop general. Like, how do you think of yourself? Like, yeah.
Yeah, man. First of all, I'm still a boy. I think that for most men here, like, connecting with that boy, the boy or the little girl inside you a lot of times is very frail, has a lot of dreams. You don't really show them to everyone, You don't talk about your fears. You don't talk about your vulnerabilities.
Yep.
But remembering that, like, sense of innocence that you have inside you, and staying in tune with it, who you really are, who you were when you were a little child, and when you looked at the world, you were like, this is what I'm going to do. This is my purpose here, So I'm still that. I still have that inside me. I would say that I am a Nigerian in the fact that I am dealing with the truth of this country, like we all are, like the truth on one side in the daytime is like we have such huge potential. I'm so grateful for the opportunities I have, and I look forward to so much more that can be done. But in the nighttime, the dark side of it is that so much is in turmoil. And, I'm contending with that through family, through just being a Nigerian, being alive in the world in this time. And then, yeah, I didn't used to like to describe myself as a rapper.
Why?
I don't know. It felt like, what you said is like, it felt like when someone described me as a rapper, I would say I'm more than a rapper. But I'm working on my next album, so So for
I
today,
assume maybe we'll listen to a few tracks
and I
live.
have them here. I have them here on my phone.
We have Oxcord, don't
Anybody
worry.
that's bold that can take me down and steal my phone, you have my new album. You know what I mean? So maybe I'll use that one now. But I'll use that as a conduit to say I'm more. Like I just got married a couple years ago, so don't hail me. Like they say marriage is one of those things people hail you at the beginning. You know what I mean? I'm learning. It's like it's a lot of growth and learning there. I'm a young startup founder, let me call it that. I'm trying to build a solution for a big problem I see in my space. I don't think someone else is going to be able to build it.
At all.
But that is taking me to the beginning again. It's taking me I worked so hard in this industry. It's taking me to the beginning again. And so I'll use rappers. I'm a boy, I'm a Nigerian, I'm a rapper.
Yeah. Great. On going back to the beginning, because you mentioned it, how often do you find that you have to go back to the beginning? How often do you do that?
That's a good question. I think that we normally like to avoid going back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't like it. For me now, as MI, going back to the beginning, I'll explain what it meant for me. So, I'd gotten to the point in my career where if I'm going to an office to visit, for instance, I'm probably going to see the CEO, and I'm probably going to go past reception.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be like, oh, MI's here, oh, wow, fantastic. I'll go upstairs, I'll sit down. But when I started my company, if I'm pitching for a bid, I'm talking to the receptionist first. You know what I mean? In fact, I was going into an office the other day in Jos, and the guy at the gates, he didn't know who I was because I walked in. So I remember having a conversation with him. I was like, yeah, I'm here to do this with this person. And so we don't like to start again. It makes us feel like, it's a question of worth and value, But I think that it's our actual true form. When we were babies, we were constantly trying and failing. You wake up, you see a child, they look at the fire, the candle, they're like,
that's what's up.
then they start running. Their dad is like, come here, Junior, come here, stop that. The child sits down. The child cries. What's the next thing the child is doing? Looking back at that fire Then they go for the fire, they burn their hand, they're crying. We told you, don't touch it, it's hot. Have you learned your lesson, Junior? Yes. Tomorrow he's looking at the stove. Now, why am I saying that? Because by the time you get into secondary school or nursery school or primary school, people start punishing you for being wrong. So you got an exam wrong. They bring you to the front of the class. Some of us that went to school in those times, and you get flogged publicly. You get shamed. You didn't get this right. People laugh at you. Oh, you don't know what this is? You don't have an iPhone? You don't have this? And we have this new relationship with the world where showing people that you are at the beginning becomes a thing of shame.
Yeah.
So you spend a lot of time from your 20s to about 40 trying to prove to people, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm saying. I'm not at the beginning. And a lot of times you may need to be at the beginning. That's the truth. For many people, it means starting a new job, starting a new relationship, and the feeling as an adult, having been beaten for years for being wrong, to go back to say, I'm starting from scratch, is true. It can be traumatizing. But I can tell you that when you are able to sit with yourself and say, it's okay, you didn't get it right, but let's do it again, that then what you have and where you are matters less because of who you've become.
Yeah.
You've become somebody that cannot be stopped because no matter what happens, you're going to look at the fire again and say, tomorrow we go again, And I think there's a little bit of beauty in returning back to that self, where things matter less. The chains, the cars, all those things, they matter less. And you're like, I just want to like be curious and learn new things and accomplish new things. And so I'm like, as I'm year 4 of running a company.
Yeah.
I ran Chocolate City for a few years, but it was a different experience. I was a different type of leader then. Now I have to know break-even points.
Now to read financial statements.
I have to know, like, I remember.
Net profits, gross margins.
And the funniest thing, this journey has put me in meetings more than any time in my life where in the meeting, I'm realizing I don't know what this person is talking about. You know what I mean?
The plot twist is they don't know what they're talking about sometimes too.
I'll tell you a hack. People that have really done things, when they see people struggling, they have respect for those people.
Yeah. Yes.
They have respect. If
Yes.
somebody's seeing you struggling and they're mocking you, they are celebrating the fact that they can now hide the fact
Yes.
that they are vulnerable. You understand? So they're like, at least, at the back of their mind, they're saying, at least it's not me going through this shame. Because they see trying as something shameful. And that's something that we have to, like, again, come back to be like, my true form is one of a learner. I arrived here knowing nothing, and at any point I should be willing to start again and build and pick up and, go.
Yeah. Wow. For someone like you who has you have a lot of worldly success that many young people aspire towards, why do you start again? Maybe easier to just be like, you know what? I'm going to hold this identity. I'm going to hold it to my grave. I'm not going to, start afresh in anything else in my life. Why is that? Why do you do that? What experience are you looking to unlock when you start again?
Yeah, I'll answer the question from my life specifically, then I'll answer it a different way. It's a great question, but for me, something happened. And what happened was I was the CEO of Chocolate City, and then a good thing happened. We sold the business. We got some new partners. And in the middle of the conversation, I left my role as CEO of Chocolate City.
Yeah.
And, like, it's not a big thing. It's not like I was still MI the day I left. I'm one of the owners of the company, Artists had signed, CK, Black Bones, all these guys were there. The CEO that took over was someone that's a mentee of mine. But I had to ask myself, when you go to an office every day for 5 years, what am I going to do next, right? And so it happened to me. And it's very possible in another world, like I look at people like Don Jazzy or Olamide that have been in the same company for a long time, right? But when I look at my own life, I actually say to myself, wow, if that hadn't happened to me then, I wouldn't have had to take a look at my life for other things. Now, let me answer you the question now, I think. I think the reason why, there are 2 reasons why you should start again. We should always be ready to start again. The first is because we can be more. So, let's go back to that child. When you were a child, you used to look at yourself and you used to say, I'm going to do this. And most of us, along the life, we have been convinced you're not going to do this. Just find something that you can do. Just be a receptionist. Just get a job, get an iPhone, get this, get that. Now, the truth about it is that maybe that thing that you wanted to do, you're the only person that can do it on earth. Right? Like we're holding an iPhone. And an iPhone, if you're holding an iPhone, it came to us by this guy called Steve Jobs, who when he was a young person, he said, I want to make a computer that anyone can afford. At that time, it was a ridiculous idea. Right? Imagine if he had said, I can't do this. And so the point is that you probably, in some way, and it doesn't have to be an iPhone, maybe it's like, I can help my family figure out its challenges.
Yes.
Maybe it's like, I can break a generational curse.
Yes.
Maybe it's like, I can establish something for myself. Maybe it's like, I can end trauma or whatever, that's generational trauma that's been in our, and most people around you, once you say, this is what I want to do, they're going to say you can't do it. And that's why being ready to start again is very important, because for you to be your best self, for you to really be able to look at the younger version of you, that child version of you, and for that child to smile back at you and be like, wow, I'm so proud of what you did with your life. Have you ever thought about that? Like, if the 3-year-old version of you could see yourself right now, what would they say? Would they say, I can't wait to grow old, this is amazing? Or would they be like, hey, let's get back to it. I know you're afraid, I know you're scared, but let's get back to it. This is not us, this is not what we want to do. And for you to chase that version of yourself, you have to be ready to pick yourself up over and over again. But the second reason as well is that I really truly felt that there is a different level of financial security that I wanted to strive for, right? I want to be like, I'm going to say it to you guys, don't tell anyone, right? Don't tell anyone. I want to be like a super multi-millionaire in dollars.
Why?
Because, good question. I come from a people that are economically impoverished. And we're from the middle belt. We've had one sort of great Nigerian. And I'm not so far. Most other people from my tribe may not have the opportunity I have.
Yeah.
And they may even pat me on the back. They may even be like, MI did so much. They may even hail me. But I know, the 3-year-old Jude is like, but we can do more. We can do more. And I believe that I have this, God has given me this great opportunity to be part of an industry at a time where it's developing and it's growing. I've been around some of the most talented young people, and through that journey, I've seen us struggle with problems. And I've seen all the solutions being built by Americans or Germans. And I've seen friends of mine build banks and solutions from Nigeria. And I've also always been told that as a musician, your job is just to sing. But I know myself, I know my brain, I know I can do more. And so I threw myself back in the challenge, because if I'm successful, I can do something that means so much more for my family. I can establish a business, like my business task. I want to build something that's truly globally impactful for creatives. And if it means I'm going to fail 8 more years, every morning I'm going to wake up and be like, let's go, let's get back to it, because I know I can be more, So. And I'll say something as well, like the story I gave about the younger child. I would really like for most people, if you've never done that, to spend maybe like tomorrow on Sunday, like to close your eyes. Like maybe we can try it. Let's try it together now, okay? So
let's do it.
If you can, close your eyes. If you're comfortable doing it, close your eyes. And I want you to think of a memory of yourself when you were a kid, where you were very happy. Your earliest memory, but the memory has to be a happy memory, where you were really very happy, right? And I want you to like see yourself in that memory. And if you can find a memory, you have something like that, just put your hand up so I can see that some people here have it. Okay. Now, in that memory, I want you to see yourself walking up to your younger self and telling your younger self, preparing your younger self for their life, for what's going to happen next. And if you spend time there, like what would you say to your younger self, your 3 or 5-year-old self? What would you say about their life? And then when you're done, like what would your 5-year-old self say to you? If you can remember, what would they say to you about your life, what you've told them? And, okay, everyone, you can open your eyes. Did anyone have some sort of memory Did you connect with something that maybe you'd forgotten for a while, or you felt yourself in a new way? Like, if you can take time and really spend time doing this, it really impacted me a lot. The first time I did it, I was crying for a very long time because I hadn't seen the boy, Jude, in a long time. You know, I was an adult, I'm grinding, I'm going to work, I'm in relation, I'm performing, I'm on stages, I'm the big man. But that little boy, you know, that I hadn't connected with him in a long time. So I just wanted to share that with you guys so that maybe you can take it with you and do it somewhere else. Yeah.
We're going to open up for audience questions. Ocon, please just give me something with the Slido. We'll use Slido, please. Or if you have a question, please raise your hands if you have a question. All right. 1, 2, 3. Let's start with these 3, and we'll see if we have room for more. So those 3 people I pointed out, please, and then we'll do another round if we have the time to.
Hi, my name is Ifoma, and I was one of those people who was like least expectant of your session because just there's no, I haven't paid much attention, but I apologize. So I wrote my question down so I can be more succinct. I love the illustration of the child as someone who really believes in being the most authentic version of myself, but we can argue that the child has way less things at stake. The child almost has nothing that they're responsible for. So, how do you balance holding on to your inner child and starting again as many times as necessary with a resource that is as limited as time? How do you balance starting again as many times as necessary with being persistent with that one thing or those few things until you reap the fruits of your labor? Because life is just set up in a way that favors people who have substantial results that can be held on to, and not just people who know who they are without any results to show for. How do you balance those 2 things?
Thank you, Ifoma. That was a very, very good question. And it has layers to it.
Plenty layers.
The child, you're right, the child has less responsibility. But maybe that's a good thing, right? Like, yeah, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe the version of ourselves that has a lot of responsibility and a lot of distractions and a lot of expectations is actually not the version of ourselves that we are most comfortable with. And I can't speak for everybody, right? But I can tell you that up until I really started connecting with myself and what I want, I was sort of playing a game of like, this is what society wants, this is a good thing for people to have, so let me do it myself, whether it's buying big cars or who I was dating or, things like that. And when I go back to my child self, like the child Jude, the young me, I was very curious. I used to love to read a lot. I used to love to laugh. I love family. I love community. And so, older me, if I drive towards that, I feel more in my skin, like when I'm around community and I'm around the kind of things that inspire me, the kind of laughter that inspires me, and it's not just about chasing something that people want, So that's the first thing I'll say. I think the part of your question that really impacted me was about like, the world is unfair. And even if you're starting over and over again, what if you never succeed? What if you never get there, And I'll share a short story. I was sitting with a friend of mine by the toll gate in Abuja 3 years ago, right? And a car came out of nowhere and slammed into the back of our car. Now, I've had other accidents, but the reason this accident was important was because I didn't expect it. And up until then, I'd always thought about my death as being on my own timeline. You know, like I'll fall sick or I'll be somewhere, they'll be like, I'll be like, hey, I will have a role. I'd never thought that I would be just somewhere and I'll just hear a sound, skirt, and I'll turn. That'll be it. That night, as you said, you were not really paying attention to MI, but you'd have heard about me that night. Do you know what I'm saying? Because it would have become a story. And that night, when I went back, I started thinking to myself, I was like, oh, what if I approach the world like that was my death date? Now I'm on extra time, right? The minute I thought about it that way, it changed my perspective. I decided that the audience I'm playing for, like, who am I living my life for? Who is watching me? Is it my mom? Is it my dad? Is it my wife? Is it my nephew or my nieces? Is it my fans? And I decided that the person that's watching me is young Jude, the young boy. That's all. Is he at peace? You know? Is he proud? Is he happy? You know? And I feel so much better that way. Now, what if the goal I'm working for never succeeds? What if I'd never become MI? What if there's so many talented people, even here, even in this room. There are people who would have had an opportunity, their parents, maybe the day somebody died or a car accident happened or, I don't think that's up to us to control. I think that our own choice is how do you show up to play every day? And so the metaphor of the child is me saying, if I am living to impress myself, but not the adult version of me that's so confused and has so many expectations, the young version of me, the real Jude, the Jude that when you were young, parents would be lying to you, even though like, this one is lying. You can tell. You have a sense of the world. You have a sense of yourself. And then it's sort of taken away from you. If I can get back there, that I find purpose, true purpose. So, look, I can only tell you my perspective and share with you my journey. And I don't think anybody's ever right about anything. People share and we listen and we take what we can, But that's truly my answer. It's like the young version of you, that little girl, might have so many profound things to tell you. Like, hey, do you remember we really wanted to do this? Or that friend group, you can feel it. What are we doing there? Yes. There's an innocence and an honesty we had when we were young that, I feel when I'm connected to guides me, and it's more important than anything else. Sorry.
We are out of time, but we'll do one last question. The lady with the microphone.
Sorry, I took so long to answer the question. I could have just said,
it was great.
Be a child, go.
Okay, my question is simple. Are there any times when you feel like your life is moving faster? I don't know how to explain it. It's like your life is moving faster than you can control or faster than you. I don't know the way to put it in the grammar. Yes. And then, sorry, this one is really small question. How do you, like, everybody knows you as, I know you as MI, like the singer, right? How do you kind of, the rapper, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So,
don't mind
how
them.
do you,
You see, everybody's laughing because they think you got it wrong. But to you, you're like singer. And I understood what you meant.
Okay,
Singer, you're correct.
singer.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So how do you try to convince people that you're actually more than that? Like, how do you change, move? I don't know how to put it in. Change people's perspective of you to show them that it's more than just singing. It's more than just rapping. It's actually much more than this. Yeah.
Great question. I think it ties back to what you're saying. What we asked earlier. I thought your question was fantastic, by the way. And I'm learning as well when I ask questions, not to be apologetic as well. Nigeria, we're like, sorry, I don't want to, just ask, And I thought your question was very fantastic. How do you As you started talking, I started thinking about how do you keep going, right? And how do you not get distracted? And I think it ties back to what I was just saying. Like, who is the audience? Who lets you know whether you did a good job or not? If that's the true answer, like if you were asking the question and you thought singer, and everybody started laughing, you'd be like, why are you guys laughing? Am I, as a singer, do you know what I mean? That is a question that's asked where the audience is yourself. But if the audience is everyone, hey, Emma, you're a singer, people start laughing. Oh, I got it wrong, right? And the point is that when the audience becomes yourself, truly. So let me give an example of what I mean, right? I started running a few years ago. And I started running because I still wanted to be in the music industry. And I didn't like the weight I was at. Because I'm not so tall. As a shorter guy, when I was bigger, it was very tough for me to get my clothes styled. This is something I was dealing with myself. Nobody knew. And so I made up my mind that if I was going to come back and continue making music after COVID, I wanted to be a little slimmer, right? It was very difficult. What it took me to do was to run every morning. I wake up every morning, I start running at around 6 till 7. I had never been a runner, and I started when I was 30, I was like 38, right? 38. I'd never been a runner my whole life. Now I can run for an hour and a half. I'm a runner, and I cut down my weight to a place I was more comfortable. So the other day, I was in my house, I was about to go to Jos, and there was no hot water. The heater in my, you guys are like, where is this going? Don't worry, trust me. So there's no hot water in my house. The heater was bad, but I didn't know that morning. I didn't know. So I was like, should I just hop on the plane, go to Jos, and then I could just shower once I get to the apartment in Jos? I was alone in the house in Lagos. I'll just hop on the plane, go to Jos to shower. I didn't want to take my shower with cold water. As soon as I said it, my brain said, so am I, so you did fear. As soon as I said it, a new thought came into my mind. It was like, oh, now he's going to go enter that cold water. Why? Because now I know something about myself. I know that if I tell myself tomorrow morning, 5:30, I'm going to wake up, it doesn't matter whether the people that were going to run with me showed up. It doesn't matter whether when I ran and came back, somebody was there saying, oh, wow, you ran well. I'm not running for anybody else. I'm running for myself. You understand? And that to me is the answer to the question. It's like you can live this life for other people. Or you can be like, I want to make money. I want to be a wealthy person for myself. And I'm going to make actions. People may not understand me. They may criticize me. They may laugh. I'm going to go up there. I'm going to ask that question for myself. It doesn't matter what people, I'm going to do it for myself. And I think that's the core of what I'm trying to say here. It's like, make the audience the person you're trying to impress, yourself. But not just any version of yourself. An innocent version of yourself that's honest with yourself about what you really like, who you really are. And then go after that. Do you understand? Don't stop. Don't relent. Do it until, no matter what anybody else is saying, you're smiling and you're looking at yourself. Just like me, like I didn't get paid. Nobody was there to applaud me. But me by myself in my room, looking at a cold shower, and I did take that cold shower that day. Do you know what I mean? I went right in. In fact, I have a small scar on my forehead. I had a Band-Aid. I was not supposed to shower with my hair that day. The first mistake I made was that day because I rushed into the shower. I was like, ah! And I ran in because I'm building that impression of myself. It's for me. It's not for anyone else. And so, what was your name again? Esther. Wow. For Esther. Do it for Esther. Don't care about anybody else.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me graciously celebrate Mr. Incredible.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Bro, this is amazing. Guys, is it not amazing what this man has done Please, I came here because I'm just a fan of what you've done. And I want us to all, like, tap into what this man has done. And, like, fill a room of other people and give to them too, in whatever we're doing. Like, it's so amazing, brother. I'm so proud. I'm so proud.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Everything's going to go well. Thank you, guys.